That is exactly where we're starting today. And we are starting with exactly where you're from.
Okay.
Northern California.
Yeah.
Pretty much Oregon.
I mean, yeah. Grew up on a ranch. Like
Yeah.
this is, there's so much about you coming from this area.
Yeah.
But growing up there, what was it like?
It was amazing. Yeah, it was amazing. It's funny because I was having a conversation with my brother the other day, who like we're in our 40s now, you know, and I remember like my whole thing as a kid was just knowing like I wanted to go to college. I wanted a scholarship because I knew my family couldn't pay for me to go to school, and I was like, I need a degree, right? Had no idea what I needed it for, right? Like no idea what I was going to do with one or what I wanted to do, but I was like, I need a college education. And my brother was like, I just want to get out of here, right? And like fast forward to being in your 40s, I think we're very appreciative of how we grew up.
That's cool.
But I never saw my brother being like, I wish I could just be a farmer right now. And I'm like, that's how you know we're old. You know?
And you go up there every off season.
I go up there all the time. I'm going to spend a lot of time there in the off season this year. So it'll be nice.
Now tell us exactly what you do. Are you building tables? Are you milking cows? What are you doing?
Okay, we don't have any cows of our own left anymore. Those days are gone. But yes, we do. I did grow up milking cows. We had one cow. Her name was Buttercup. And she was sweet. She was there for my whole childhood. Passed away when I went to college. So Buttercup was the best. So when I go now, it's just my dad lives up there, and my dad's in his mid-70s, and it's a ranch. There's a lot of stuff to do. Last year we have several barns, but we have this really big barn that is not easy to paint. You have to get equipment and stuff like that. So we painted it, and it had probably been 35 years since we painted. So you had to repair it, and we did all this stuff. And my brothers were there. I was there, my kids. And so we do that kind of stuff. We have a lot of fence to paint this year, and
that's the thing though, Deuce, because you would say you're not handy, right?
No, not handy at all.
And so
there's no handiness with me.
I would say I can do things, but I've seen Kayte say I built my kitchen table.
Yeah.
It was nothing. And then even her talking about the barn right now, and how you have to go about it, the knowledge, did you just get that knowledge of how to do these things growing up?
My parents had children for labor because it was a lot. It was a lot to do. On the ranch, they needed a lot of extra hands, and so I just grew up doing all of those things. And the best part about it is my dad's not a carpenter or anything like that. So we kind of have scrap piles. When you're a rancher or farmer, you save everything because you never know when it's going to be used. And I think we still have a spool of barbed wire in one of the barns that I'm this has got to be 100 years old. When we should probably scrap this by now. So you just, whatever needs to be done, you figure out a way to do it. Wow. I don't know that a licensed professional would say oh, you did this really well. It's still standing. The barn's 120 years old, so we figured something out. We've at least kept it upright.
So growing up there, how did you get into basketball? Was that you just played outside? What was it that first attracted you to the game?
Well, I was really competitive, and so we didn't have youth sports. There were no youth teams to play on growing up. I think there might have been in town, but that was 45 minutes away. I think it was soccer.
Wait, how small, for perspective, how many people are in this town?
So the town when I say town, it's Alturas, and that's about 35 miles from where I grew up. That has about 3,000 people. But the closest, I went from K through partway through sixth grade in Likely, California, it was 200 people at the time. And there was 40 kids in a K through sixth grade school, and they had pared it down. It did go through eighth grade. So you might have 2 or 3 kids in each class. There was 2 classrooms. And so, everyone just played together, all age groups and stuff like that. But I had a horrible competitive streak, and I needed an outlet for it. So when I got into sixth grade, that's when sports became available. And so, I did everything I could, volleyball, basketball, I ran track and field. And then, yeah, just ended up being, like kind of athletic, given like, no, I have no idea why. Like, it's not like it's a trait that runs in our family. It's certainly not. Oh, heck no. Yeah. And so, yeah, and then just ended up with like a really good high school basketball coach that like played college football and understood how it worked. And so I think going into my junior year was the first time I played AAU, and it's because he started a team, and our community fundraised to send us. Like, we couldn't afford to do that kind of stuff. Yeah. And so literally that's why I went to college. That's why I went to the WNBA, and that's how I like ended up in broadcasting. Like, none of this stuff would have happened without like my little town like fundraising for me to play AAU basketball.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just gathering around and making sure you could do, and it was smart that they did that, because then you were Division V Player of the Year in 1998, and then you won a state title.
Yeah. At Arco.
That's what we were going to ask. We were like, was it at Arco?
Okay. See, that's like a full circle thing too.
So cool.
It was. Well, and especially because obviously when I started working here in 2006, it was at Arco. Yeah. And that was like back in the day. And I didn't know this until the other day. I was doing something at like the rec center in West Sac, and one of the people at this event she's a high school basketball referee. That when I was in Division V, it was with all the private schools. Yeah. And it was some school we played in basketball, I think, that they called our school up and they said, what is the exit off the freeway? They flew up in a plane. I'm like, the runway to the airport is dirt. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, you guys are so special. Yeah. And like, you're coming up here. So we were playing against like all these private schools and stuff like that, which was really, really quite an experience. It was very competitive. So it was a lot of fun. But I do remember going to the Double Pump Classic in LA it's the All-Star. The Pump Brothers, big in the basketball community and have been for years and years. They did an All-Star game for the state of California. So that's all divisions, all this stuff. I remember going there, and like Michelle Greco, who was at UCLA, and I can't remember the other girl's name now. She was going to Arizona, but they were huge. Like everyone was like, I was this like nobody that no one knew, and I was so pissed. Like, I was so pissed at like kind of how I was disregarded. I went out and got like MVP of that whole All-Star game, and was like, I never shot threes. I was shooting threes in the game. I was like making threes. The whole game they called me Kayte Christensen. They didn't even know my name. And so like
the disrespect.
I mean, but that's like, it's kind of like what defines you, right? Yeah. Like, you come from like nowhere. No one has any idea who you are. And that's kind of an awesome thing, because they also don't know what it's like when you smack them in the face. Like, it's a really gratifying feeling, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think that where I grew up is, it literally shaped me into like the athlete that I was too. Because talk about pain and labor.
Yeah.
Basketball practice was a break.
Where did this competitiveness come from?
I had a bunch of siblings. Yeah. Like, we used to beat up on each other. You know, back when your parents left you in the car at the grocery store.
Oh, God.
And like you come out and like the windows are all fogged up and you're all red because you've been like wailing on each other. I think that's probably where it came from. I don't know. Yeah, I was like the third kid. So you're kind of scrapping and fighting for everything.
Yeah. Wait, the youngest too?
No, I have a younger brother.
Okay. So that's, well... Did you ever like gang up on him with the other siblings?
No, we actually, this might shock you because of how feminine I am. But I was a little bit of a tomboy.
No.
And so I like had a really short haircut, like all the way until like 8th grade. I started growing it out.
Love it. 8th grade, you had you did this like it was a bowl cut.
Like through 7th grade. Oh, like with perms and everything. Yeah, it was very 80s.
We'll put those photos up as
I'm sure there's photos somewhere.
Flash the photo.
But no, my brother and I were like best friends, and we're like a year and a half apart, and so like we loved to be outside and get dirty, and so we'd like take my sister's like Barbie dolls and like bury them and like torture them, you know, like that kind of thing. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I was always a little bit different.
I'm like a year and a half from my brother, and so like we grew up like twins, but like he would throw me to the ground, you know, like, it was like, hey, we could be a team. Yeah. But it was like, no, you're going down. So that's why.
I mean, when you have like a lot of siblings, you have to have alliances, basically. And he was in my alliance.
Oh, so, good job. Good work.
So you mentioned that tournament. Was that, you had the chip on your shoulder, you're doing things that you don't normally do out there, hitting threes. Did you already know you were like good enough at that point? Or like, what point were you like, oh, I'm really good at this and I can go to another level?
Well, I guess when I started playing at AAU, I was like, okay, I think I am good enough to play in college. But I never looked at myself as like, I never looked at somebody else and thought, I'm better than you. I knew I could outwork you. I like plain and simple. Like no one was going to play harder or work harder and do like the things that kind of suck to do in basketball, which is like defense. And like we had drills in high school where like our coach would put us at the elbows on the free throw line and he'd roll the ball. And when he said go, you'd have to go and get, and it didn't stop. There was no whistle that was blown until someone came away with the ball. You know what I mean? Like it was scratching and clawing and fighting. And so that was kind of like instilled into me as well. Like, you know, I knew I was tougher than probably anybody and could handle a lot. But yeah, I think that's one area where I never like assessed myself in terms of like how good I was, because my only goal was to use it to pay for school. And so like when I went to college and I was there, of course, when I'm doing something, I want to like give it everything and work to like really be good at it. But then like when the WNBA, my coaches had to fight for me to get invited to the combine. And I was like the player of the year in our conference and like all this stuff. And when it was kind of a flashback of like the California All-Star game, like no one like really knew who I was or wanted me there, basically didn't think I was going to have an impact. And then, you know, I did really well at the combine, and then I got drafted, but I was drafted in like the 3rd round. And at that time there was 16 teams. So it was like 16 picks in each round. I got drafted in the 3rd round. And that year, 12 people made a roster. So not even every first round. I was 40th pick in the draft. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was all just off of like working harder than people, like everything.
Before we get to the WNBA, I do want to get to UCSB though, UC Santa Barbara, because I can only imagine though what that life was like going from the ranch in Northern California to then Santa Barbara. Like, was it an instant connection with that city? Like, what was it that gravitated to you there?
So I'm so weird, you guys. I didn't know anything about how college conferences worked when I started getting recruited. And I was playing volleyball, and we were really good at volleyball too. Like we went to the state tournament, you know, every year in volleyball and played in the finals in my senior year. And I was so overwhelmed by the recruiting process because, you know, and there was no cell phones and stuff back then. So it was all like they called you at night. Well, I had practice, and then I had school, and like I had a job, like all this stuff. And so my coach at the time said, write down 5 questions that matter to you. And when coaches started calling, I would ask the 5 questions. I was very direct, very direct. Probably because I wasn't impressed by any of it, because I didn't know anything about it.
Give me an example of being super direct.
Well, like, you know, when they call you, they want to like shoot the, you know.
They want you to be excited to go there.
Yeah,
instead
well,
she's
no,
probably...
but they're just trying to like find some way to make a connection with you. And I'm like, I don't have time for this. Like, I've got 5 questions. There's more calls. I have homework to do. You know what I mean? Like, so I'd be like, yeah, it's like very excited to talk to you. So I have 5 questions for you. So I would just like go into it. Yeah. And like very quickly, I was able to eliminate a lot of these schools just by how they answered the questions. Oh. And then like,
amazing.
You know, Oregon was one of my top 3 choices at that point. Well, I'll put 4 in there. I'll be honest about it. Boise State, University of Oregon, UC Santa Barbara, and Hawaii.
Whoa.
Well, I'd never been on a plane. Like I really wanted to go to Hawaii, but I'm like, I'm not going there. So like at 16, I was like, well, that doesn't seem right. I'm not going to go on a recruiting trip there. I'm not going to go there. Like I could have, but I felt bad about doing that.
Yeah.
But I went to Oregon on an unofficial because we were playing in an AAU tournament up there. And the way that they treated my team that we're obviously traveling back from this tournament was so awful. And then like when they were recruiting me, it's like, oh, you'll get to wear Nike and this and that. And I'm like, you guys clearly don't know me because none of that stuff like matters to me.
Yeah.
And so I eliminated them and canceled my trip because I didn't. So it was like Boise State and UCSB. And when I went to Boise State, they asked what I wanted to do on my recruiting trip. I went and saw Les Mis. Like I went and saw, like, there was no culture in Alturas. You know, there was a movie theater that was open like 2 days a week. But Santa Barbara, for me, it was just about the coaches.
Okay.
So like you had your, as a freshman, you have it all through college, depending on what your GPA is, you have study hall. But as a freshman, your first quarter, you have to go 4 days a week.
Okay.
And like I asked Oregon, the same question. These are all of my questions. Like, who does your study hall? Well, we have people that do that. And they did have people, and they had amazing, like, buildings, and like athletes have a bunch of stuff there.
Yeah.
They have a lot of money. UCSB was not that way. We did it in some classroom, and the coaches each took a night of study hall.
Wow.
And so like, I was like, okay, these people actually care about me. And I went through that whole thing. And I remember getting there my freshman year and moving into the dorm, and I opened up like the curtains, and like 100 yards outside my dorm was the ocean. And I was like,
such a nice
my
campus.
God. I was like, I never thought about this. I was so paranoid.
That was the moment?
Yeah. Like, I didn't even like the ocean and the town and the city, like nothing factored into my decision. It was all about the coaching staff and like the longevity. Mark French was the head coach at the time. He'd been there for years and had completely built that program up from the bottom. His coaches were his former players. So I felt comfortable in like the longevity there, and how they treated me as a person, and how like they cared about my education, and it wasn't just about a transactional relationship with an athlete. And so, when I got there and I looked, I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Like, okay, I made the right choice.
This never entered into it, but seriously, Olay.
So, Big West Player of the Year.
Yeah.
And then you go through the combine process after finally getting that opportunity. When that moment happens, you get drafted. Like, what is that feeling like when you get the call, like, I just got drafted?
Well, because I knew nothing about anything, kind of very similar to how I went into college basketball. I just didn't know what to expect. So then it's just like the nerves of like, I had just started my third semester in my fourth year, right? UCSB is on the semester system, so we had just started, and graduation is late for UCSB. So I had to start talking to my professors about how I could finish. So my rookie year, I was full-time in school.
Wow.
At the same time. But it's because I was in a really small major, and they made all of my classes independent study, and they did them with me like basically remotely.
Wow.
So, and I was lucky because I was a classics major. So there was like 9 people in my major. So they were great. They were able to do that for me. But so it was like about the details, and like going to Arizona, and like when do you have to report to camp, and like the whole process. And then like once I got there, I had a health situation that kept me out of training camp. So I didn't know I had a heart condition.
Oh my God.
And so it was like this thing where I had a stress test for the first time. And like when I get off and you're in rest and your heart rate's supposed to go down, mine jumped like to 220 beats a minute. And I had no idea. I can't feel it happening. And so then they held me out for a while. And then it's like I had to do like all these tests and all this stuff. And then finally I was like, I feel fine. Like, I don't even feel it. Like, can I please? Because I'm like, I'm a nobody. If I can't at least be out there, how am I supposed to like earn a job? And I didn't really think I would either, but I wanted to try, and it worked out for the best. It did, but it was shocking that I made it. It really was. Shocking.
I mean, that's pretty wild. But I guess like that feeling that you did make it, was there like relief once you like were there, or like
there was oblivion. The final day of cuts, like I didn't have an agent or anything like that. So I was just like, I knew it was the final day, and like we had been dropping off, and so I go to practice on the final day, and I was in the locker room, I'm getting dressed, and I asked one of the veterans, her name was Lisa Harrison, she played at Tennessee. I was like, when do they tell you like what the final roster is? She's like, you're here, aren't you? And I was like, oh, so it's literally that unceremonious,
That's it.
So I'm like, no one said I had to leave, so I guess I'm just on the team now. So that was the experience.
Wow.
Yeah, there's no like congratulations and
here you are.
Yep.
But
it's like you're
when
here.
you knew you made it, was there? I mean, was there elation? Are you emotional?
Yeah, was your
thinking about
family
it?
like into it, or or were they just like, that's cool, good job? Now come back to the ranch.
I'm sure my family was excited, but I don't recall there being any. It just was like, okay, like I'm still playing basketball, and like now it's like I was still in school, so it was a little like I was still focusing on 2 things at the same time. And like, there's also like when you make a roster there, it's like, well, how long am I going to be here? You like, it's just this thing of, I don't think I ever really stopped to appreciate the moment. It was more of like, how can I stay here?
Whoa.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
like the focus of like, what do I need to do to prove myself invaluable, right?
Yeah.
And like that I can do something that nobody else, like I can find my little niche. Because I remember we had like a preseason game against the Sparks and Lisa Leslie at the time. And so it was in LA. So a bunch of my teammates came down and everything. And I remember afterwards, one of my best friends on the team to this day, she's like, Kayte, like, why aren't you trying to score? I'm like, because everybody else is trying to score. Like, I'm trying to do the things that I know that nobody else is going to do, because and it's the same in the NBA. Everybody comes in and they were the leading scorer. They're the player of the year. They're the this, they're the that. And everyone still wants to be that at the next level, but not everyone can be that.
Yeah.
You know, you have to find something that you offer that no one else is willing to. So I guess for me, it was just like head down, go. I don't know that I ever really stopped to be like, wow, this is really, that's embarrassing to admit. Probably.
No,
you're just in it. You're just like, I'm here. I'm trying to survive and play as long as I can.
Yeah. And I was trying to get that dang degree too. I really was. I was trying to finish that up.
How do you balance that? Like, you're trying to like adjust to probably playing at a new level in the WNBA, and then you're still working on your degree. Do you remember how you even balance that?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of, and this is before like Zoom calls and like all the technology and stuff like that. Like, I don't even think I had a laptop at the time. Like, I don't think I had a laptop. So that's a really good question on how I managed to finish it up. I had these massive books because I was doing one of the courses, because it's classics. So one of the courses was like on archaeology and art. And the book, and I still have it to this day, it's like, you know, it's like this big, but it's like that thick. And so I'm like lugging it around on all of our commercial flights, you know, like studying in the room and that kind of stuff. I just, it's
like
the
a
same
workout.
way you manage it in college, you know? Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It is, what an interesting time that was. But I guess now I hope you do look back and like appreciate those moments too, because like it is so cool that you were in the W, that like you were finishing up college. Like it's just badass that you like finished it all while doing it all. And then on top of that, I guess, then after your career, looking at what you were going to do next, because I feel like that is where your brain was probably going to go, okay, where am I going to go next? Was that challenging? Did you already know it was going to be broadcasting? Like, where'd that go?
Like many things in my life, some things just kind of happen. I felt like the WNBA kind of happened. You know what I mean? Like, so I was very realistic. I'm like, I'm on the team now, but who knows how long I'm going to be in the WNBA. So I was like, what do you want to do with your life? And so I was like 21, and I was like, you know what? I think being a bridal consultant sounds great, and having my own business.
Wow.
So while I was playing, I got I became a member of an association, and I took all their training and all their certifications, and I started working with other consultants while I was still playing in Phoenix, and I started my own company, and I started doing weddings. And then that was kind of my plan, was to do that when I was done. And then I was playing in Chicago, and I got a call from Craig Amazane, who used to be the director of broadcasting for the Kings when the Kings owned their own broadcast.
Yep.
And Kara Lawson had been doing the pre-half and post-game show, and they wanted to bring in a player. And so he asked if I was interested. I said, well, we're going to be in Sacramento playing the Monarchs soon. Like, let's sit down and talk. So I went to Crateville with Craig Amazane. We had breakfast. And I had never thought about doing broadcasting. I didn't know anything about it. I had filled in a couple times when I was in Phoenix for Tom Chambers, of all people, who's still there doing the same job. And he's like, okay. And I said, yeah, I'll give it a try. So give it a try meant I'll go to LA with 200 other people and do an open call.
Oh, my.
And so literally, like, Jim Cozumore was there. We filmed just a little demo session, and it was actually like that, like a basketball hoop in the background, and like we did a demo and a little segment, and they called and offered me the job, and they offered me a 1-year contract for $50,000. Which, if you're in this world, you understand that means we think this probably isn't going to work out. Have no idea how you're actually going to be at this, but we'll give it the old college try.
Yeah. 1 year.
Yeah, 1 year.
Wow.
And so here I am, and this, like, that was 2006.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
That is just, it's wild how life works out that way too. And because you're doing the bridal thing, but also the classics major.
Yeah. I wanted to be a professor.
You want to be a professor
I wanted
at one
to
point.
teach. Yeah, I
Wow.
wanted to teach. And Professor Athanasakis was my mentor at UCSB. And I would say it was probably after my last year in the WNBA. And when I took this job, he's like, "Are you sure you don't want to come back and start your master's program?" And I was like, "I think I'm going to give this a try." If this hadn't worked, I probably would have gone back to school because I love
Yeah.
school. I love school.
I can
yeah.
well, I can tell even with
Yeah.
Well, you study all the time,
Yeah.
It's
still to this day.
it's regimented.
And
like I love that.
I mean, it's just interesting how like some of the stuff you've done obviously applies to even today. Because
Yeah.
it's the study, it's the preparation that you do constantly, and then you are teaching the game every night.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of it. Yeah, I like. I don't know, and everybody is different, and everyone has their own style. And for me, I think the biggest compliment I get is when people like, and it's usually women. Not a lot of men will come up and admit this, but I want to think that if it's true for women, it's probably true for some men as well. But they'll be like, "I watch the games with my husband or my boyfriend, and I learn so much from you." And I'm like, that's the best compliment.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? So at least like if you're having to watch it. Like, if apparently he's dragging you along for this, I'm hoping you're watching like, Bravo after this is a nice trade-off or whatever. But if you're watching it, I hope you're getting something out of it. And I think that that's also kind of what and makes people kind of enjoy the experience of taking in a game, It's not just about the X's, like the what's going on and calling every play in action.
Sure.
And I like the conversational aspect of it and being able to like break it down a little bit more and tell stories about the players because there's so many interesting things about these players and it humanizes them. Because coming from the background of being an athlete, I think one of the things that is really missing is that as fans, we don't really recognize the human being element of it. And it's more of the celebrity element of it, or you're an athlete.
Yeah. Or
no,
you're just numbers.
It's a human being.
And it's like, no, these are human beings who go through things.
100%.
Your journey, it's so cool, like hearing it kind of come even in full circle there of like being able to be like Professor Kayte, like and to kind of have that for yourself. But like so much has gone on for you too with, you have a family, you're a mom. How has that like changed you at this part of your life now?
I was an old mom too. I think how it's changed me at this point in my mid-40s is I'm so tired, and I know why people do it when they're young. For sure, I'm very tired. It's so true. You know what? It's interesting because I didn't know if I ever would be.
Yeah.
And I was okay if I wasn't going to be. But I just wanted to, and especially as you get older, like, well, like if it's going to happen, it probably should happen in the near future. I don't know. I think the best part is like nothing else matters but them.
Yeah.
Like it even like I'm so grateful for my job. And I think so many people would, there's not very many of these jobs in the NBA in the world. And I'm so lucky to be there. But when I go home, I'm just mom.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, they're not that impressed by it. And so I'm like, that's actually the best part about being a mom is like somebody else sees you in a very different way. And I think I like that because I see myself in a different way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't, not like my identity does not revolve around my career.
Yeah.
And so for me, it feels comforting, because I see a little version of myself running around that's like wild and crazy. And I'm like, ooh, I get to like try and like mold this.
I was going
and,
to say
like,
though,
harness this.
do you think it's like softened you up, or like if they were out on a basketball court right now, like you pack the hell out of them and like show them what's
Oh no,
up?
I definitely am that version.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. I because listen, in reality, you're either competitive by nature or you're not, right? So my daughter is certainly competitive. So it's like harnessing that like emotion.
Yeah.
And it's like I've been there. I know how to do that. Like I can help with that. But I think the thing is for me is like with sports, and it's so hard. We could do a whole podcast on my views of youth sports.
Yeah. Oh.
And so with sports, I look at it as like, shoot, my daughter's already playing sports and she's in second grade.
Yeah.
I was not playing until sixth grade. And I talk to parents and I go to these sporting events, and all these parents have they want their kids to be so great. And I think that's great for parents to want them to be great. But I think we're missing out too much on like what sports for kids actually serves a purpose for. Because I think everyone would like their kid to go on and, be great athlete or whatever. And maybe it's to pay for school or whatever. Like, I don't know what the why is, but the why has to be for the kids, not the parents. Yeah. And you're supposed to be there to support, but also foster the lessons that it's going to teach you. Because those lessons, 99.95% of the population that's playing youth sports, they're not going into pro sports. They're going into the world. So how can those lessons in sports like prepare you for the world? Yep. And I think we're missing out on that. So for me, the hard thing is with youth sports is like being like, no, you're not playing on 2 teams. That's not good for you right now. Like we're not doing that. We're not going to fall into the AAU trap. We're not, no, you like trying to say, this is what you're doing now, and there's a reason behind it, and give the why, but be like, the real lessons are like what you're getting out of losing, out of failing, out of having to work with people, play with people that maybe you don't mesh with very well, and like, how is that going to serve you as an adult in the world? Yeah. After all of the bouncing ball thing is over.
And just having fun at a young age, too. When you're like second grade, you should be thinking about just going out and like running around and being with your friends.
You know what's so crazy to me is like, it's like these kids want to do all these, they want to play in this league and that league, and they want to do this and that camp. And I'm like, I don't ever see you guys outside playing. Like, what's happened to that? You know what I mean?
Just like when I was a kid,
what's happened to that?
We would get in trouble if we came inside.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're outside for the day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Drinking out of the hose, the whole thing. Yeah. Sunscreen. What's that?
Yeah,
Snacks.
Figure it out. Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah. The other aspect of your life that's been crazy right now is obviously your husband, Joe, with Survivor 48, Survivor 50, just filming a show, new Tyler Perry show for Netflix. How have you processed all of this the last
I don't know that
year and a half?
I can definitely say, like, he got back last night. Yeah. And he's been gone for almost a month filming the Tyler Perry thing, and happening in the middle of our season where I was on a 10-day road trip during that time, and like managing how we take care of the kids and like who's doing what and how are we doing that. Like, I actually came back early from the road trip because it's the first time that either one of us had been gone at the same time. Whoa. And we actually had 2 days off in LA, and like my kids were struggling. So like I flew back and I was home for 2 days, flew down the day of the game, and I came home and I did laundry and I cleaned the house and I did kids stuff, and I was with the kids and homework and picking them up from school, and like utterly exhausted. Yeah. So I don't know that I've actually processed that part of things yet, because
you're in survival.
I think I really am. Yeah. I really am in survival mode right now.
It's your own Survivor.
Yes, it is my own version. Nice. But like him going through the process of filming and shooting Survivor 48 was cool to experience, and then he came back, and like right after the finale aired, he was gone a week later to go and film season 50. And season 50, like, what are they, 4 episodes in right now? So it's like, we like late last night watched an episode first together for the first time this season. So it's always been our fun thing to do with each other. I'm a little like, I don't necessarily like sharing that with other people, if I'm being honest. Like, I'm like, the most fun I have is like watching it with him on the couch. But now it's like, it's like this weird thing of like, seeing like kind of him in this world, and like also being like, I told you this is gonna happen. Like, you had no idea. Like when someone comes up and asks for an autograph or something, and he's like dumbfounded, and I'm like, I told you. Like, like
it's a big show.
It's a big show. Like, people watch this, and it's not like a sports team that wears like Kings on their shirt or their jersey. No one's wearing a Survivor jersey around. Like, there's so many fans like that you just don't realize. And so it's been a lot of fun seeing that. And like, he was a 2-sport athlete at UCLA. Wow. Like, still, like, I think there's like a couple of them that have ever done that, played football and ran track. And I've never seen him compete at anything. So it was been really fun because we're both very competitive. Shockingly. So that's been fun.
Wait, if you were to do Survivor against each other, who would win?
Oh my gosh. Well,
I just wanted to hear Kayte say me.
Well, he'd probably, no, I'm realistic. But that's the great thing about the show. If you've been a fan of it for a long time, like every season is different.
Yeah,
you have no idea. It's all about who you're playing with and so on and so forth. But if you're asking me, because they have had seasons in the past where they've had family members on, if you're asking me if I would be okay like voting him out and backstabbing him, yes, of course. Oh, I love it. Like, of course. Like I have no problem doing that. And like he wouldn't be hurt about that either. And I wouldn't be hurt if he got me.
Amazing.
So you've been a fan of the show forever too.
Yeah. For a really long time.
So that had to have been another surreal thing where you're like, I'm a fan and my husband is on the show.
Yeah, so we were watching it one night and he's like, I should apply for this show. And I was like, yeah, right. And like, I should have known that because of how he is. He, like, I don't know, a couple days later, he said, by the way, I applied for Survivor and they called me back today. And I was like, are you serious? And I was like, you're going to be on the show. Yeah. You're going to be on the show. And he's like, no, I don't think so. And I was like, so when he got the call that he was on the show on 48, and he was so excited, and I was like, I don't understand. Like, I told you you were going to, I was seriously probably didn't have the reaction he was looking for. Because I'm like, I don't understand like why you're shocked at my reaction. I already told you you're going to be on the show. So yeah, it's been a fun experience. I think more fun for the kids. Like, watching them see dad.
Yeah. They can see their mom and dad on TV all the time.
I know, but they don't care about me. Like,
but they get amped for Survivor.
Yes, they do. They're super into it. Like what I do, like JoJo loves it because he's a huge basketball fan. But Jade's like, why do you have to go to work again? Oh. And I'm like, well, you know, you go to school, you have clothes on your back, you have a bedroom with a lot of really nice toys in there. I was like, that's why mommy has to go to work. So, I mean, I think maybe at one point when she's older, she might be like, wow, that's pretty cool that mom does that. But right now, I'm literally just mom. Like, ew.
Yeah.
Like, ew, mom.
Which is cool too, by the way. It's
I
all
like
so
it.
cool.
Keeps you humble.
Yeah.
So you've been involved with Sacramento pretty much since 2006. You said was it 2000?
It was my first season. It was 2006, and I was here for 3 years, and then I left for 3 years and came back in 2013, and I've been back since.
So being around that long, and obviously you've been to Sacramento because of WNBA, but now that you've been here for so long, what makes Kings fans so unique to you?
Well, we go to every arena, right? And so there's literally something about just the amount of people that pour out and support, right? And because I think it has been primarily forever, and you know, there's some other things now, but this has been like the show, right?
Yeah.
And this community just clearly connects to this organization, and they've supported it for so long through the you know, attempts at relocation and all of the things. Like, they have held on to it. And I think the thing that I appreciate, they very much stand behind the players. But like on the broadcasting side, and I know you guys understand this, like they connect with us as human beings, and the support that like I feel personally within my profession from them has been very humbling. Like, it's a really amazing thing to feel like you have this connection with people, and the team is the common connection, right? And so I think that in that sense, they're special just because it really matters to them. And it doesn't, and we've been through it all.
Yeah.
They matter despite what the win-loss record is at the end of the season. They matter to this community.
Yeah, you think about that connection you built with them. It's like the hours that they spend with you.
Yeah.
You know, they're watching every single game, and like, your voice is a huge part of that.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. Well, and it's like also like I've done like every different role here except for play-by-play. And so they've also grown with me. You know what I mean? Like, they've watched my evolution in broadcasting as a professional, starting out back in 2006 with a lot of confidence and a 1-year contract. And they've, you know, gotten behind, and they've seen, it's not even just been about the support, but like they've seen me grow as like a woman, as a mom, as a partner, as a broadcaster. Like, there's that, like, I've shared like my life with all of these people. And I think that's kind of where they just feel special. Yeah. You know,
it's a cool community.
Yeah,
and
it is.
It's almost like you're on a never ending reality show then, huh? Everyone growing with you.
But you guys know me. I'm very reclusive. You know what I mean? Like, I really like being at home.
Yeah.
and I like being up with my family. And so like, I'm not a big one to spend a lot of time out or do that. Like, I'm an old lady. I think, you know, like I haven't taken
She's
up
been
crochet.
saying that for like 20
I haven't taken
years.
up like crocheting or anything yet, but I do a lot of old lady things.
You
You
could-
know?
I bet
What's
you
the most
would be
old lady
great.
thing you do?
I love gardening. Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
old lady.
I mean, you know.
I think one of the coolest thing you do is that you can build your own freaking
Yeah,
furniture.
I really do like building things and like refinishing
Like
things.
Kayte, it's just I hope you give yourself credit for all these things. Like even talking to you about like, oh, the moment you got into WNBA, yeah, I guess I should have looked at it more like this, or just, you know, graduating and all the things that you've accomplished here as a broadcaster, as a mother, as everything you've done. I hope you just get to take a step back and just go, I'm pretty great.
Well, that's very kind. You know, I think also that this is a little bit of an athlete mentality.
Sure.
Where you're constantly, and I think it's a natural state, right? I don't think that I don't know that you can stop it. Like it's part of your DNA or it's not. It's about you're always working towards something. And I also, you know, I don't do really well with compliments and things like that. Like I struggle in that space. So I don't necessarily, I think because of that, I don't actually look inward at myself and be like, oh, I'm super proud of you. You know what I mean? But I'm like, of course, like you have to work, you have to do this, you have to, you know, you have to do more, you have to do better, you have to, and that's kind of the athlete mentality is that there's always something that you're working towards. So I don't think you spend a lot of time of like sitting there going, be like, that was pretty cool. You know?
Yeah, I just hearing more about your story today. It's like growing up in this town, there's 200 people, and then to go on that grind and that journey, and for you to be here, it's pretty wild.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's not normal.
Yeah,
it's certainly not normal. But I think it's also a great thing, right?
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing for like I talk about it all the time during the broadcast with different athletes, right? Different guys. There's a different path to the same landing spot for everybody. There's no cookie cutter way to do anything to get to the NBA, to get to the WNBA, to get to wherever you're trying to go. There's no one path there. And so like finding a way to like forge your own. And I think one of the most important things is like never say no.
Yeah.
You know, like say yes to everything and be willing to fail at it. Like I had no idea if I was going to be any good at this. Or if I'd even like it, if I'm being honest. And so I said yes to it, even though it was scary and I had to pick up and move, and I rented a house online that I'd never seen, and I'd never, you know, I didn't know anything about Sacramento other than like I had come here to win a state championship, that kind of stuff. But yeah, and like it's just the willingness to put yourself in a position to fail, I think is the most important thing. And so, yeah, I'm not a big one at like actually looking back at accomplishments because I don't know, I guess I'm always
you will someday
grinding, grinding at something. I'm probably, I hope so. I guess.
I think the day that her kids are like, "You're so cool," she's gonna be like, "You're right, I am cool." And that
be
has
like,
to be the
"Are
moment.
you okay? Do you have a fever?
gardening.
Are you stroking out right now? Like, come here, no."
Well, Kayte, it's a game day. We could talk to you for like 2 hours, but it is also a game day. We appreciate you taking the time and
thank
hearing
you.
more about your
I'm
journey.
happy to do it. It was fun.
Yeah, congrats on all your success. And you will look back someday and go, yeah, I'm badass.
I know.
Well, that's very kind. Thank you.
You don't like compliments. I'm not going to compliment you.
I'm handling it very well, aren't I?
Okay, that's enough.
Yeah.
All right, that's the one and only Kayte Christensen.